is waiting for the right pitch. Now, he was at a disadvantage because if the count was 0-2 or 1-2 or so on, even if that ball was down where he was only going to bat 230, he had to swing at it. In investing, there's no called strikes. People can throw Microsoft at me and, you name it, any stock, General Motors, and I don't have to swing. And nobody's going to call me out on called strikes. I only get a strike called if I swing at a pitch and miss. So I can wait there and look at thousands of companies day after day, and only when I see something I understand and when I like the price at which it's to make in their entire life, they would get very rich because they would think very hard about each one. And you don't need 20 right decisions to get very rich. 4 or 5 will probably do it over time. Ted Williams.
I do agree with that. Let me just pull this over here. Hopefully my mic is working. My OBS is not working with my Stream Deck. You guys don't care about what any of that means, but it is important for me. It looks like I am missing my ticker too here. Let me just go ahead and pull this over, and then we'll get started. Okay, there we go. Got that. That's improvement. Let me just move this over a little bit, and then maybe zoom that up. All right. All right, so here we are. So I do agree with Warren Buffett. I think it's very easy to get caught up in a world where all these things are moving and you're supposed to have an opinion on everything that's going on, whether it's political or stocks, right? It's like, oh, why are you in this? This thing is going up like crazy. You should be in this too. Why aren't you in this? Why aren't you in this? Why aren't you in this? I do think it's very important that you figure out your areas of expertise and that you focus your attention on those. And sometimes that will mean that you're sidelined while some things are going up like crazy and every one of the people you know seems to be making tons of money. And you're just like, why am I not making money? But you will eventually if you're invested in the right things. And we're going to talk about the right things today and why I believe, for most of the year I've been sidelined, probably really since April, just treading water. And but I do believe that those times are getting ready to change, and I want to talk about one of the reasons why. Dan Tapiero is a great dude. Where does Dan come from again? Founder, CEO, and CIO of $50 trillion fund, DTAP Capital, AGCOA, GBI. He's been in macro for over 20 years. He is a goat. He is fucking badass. But he has a chart here that says, wake up. Bull market in Bitcoin hasn't started yet. Same price in gold terms as 5 years ago. Massive cup and handle leads to new upside price discovery. 4% short rates too high. USD bear now. DC Reg wind it back. DATS, again, all the treasury companies. ETFs, stables, DeFi, RWAS, etc. New World. So what he's saying is we haven't even started yet. So if you look here, this is the Bitcoin to gold chart. And you can see how Bitcoin's actually in a bear market when compared to gold. The ratio is peaking on gold, and this is such an important point, and I'm going to really focus on it today, is this right here, guys. Gold, again, this is one of those have you been sideline trades. Gold's up almost 2% today. That is an obscene number. And this is up, 140% almost, since the bottom over here in September of 2022. And by gold terms, that's actually a lot. So we are in a parabolic phase in gold. We're actually at a monthly chart, guys. Right now, we are closing in on the highest RSI since 1979. Once we pass that, which we're close to doing on the monthly, the next goal would be 1973. So we're talking 52 years ago for the monthly RSI as far as the peak that we're looking at hitting. And really, there's only one more higher than that on the monthly RSI going back to the 40s, over 75 years ago. So you need to realize all the global liquidity, all these guys showing you these fucking charts about global liquidity, it's all going into here. It's all going into here. Don't get me wrong, has went into Bitcoin too, but the vast majority of it has went into gold. And then you have, again, other stock-related investments, but really the vast majority going into gold. That will change. That'll change in the future because gold isn't the end-all, be-all, and the U.S. economy is not falling apart. And eventually others will realize that, and it's a very, very important thing to understand. So remember, Bitcoin's in a bear market when compared to gold. This is just a very important thing for you to understand. And good morning, chat, to everybody here. Benedict says, obviously time is in my favor, holding over 1 year and foolishly did not sell recent pop at 15. I would not think that 15 is an interesting number in CleanSpark whatsoever. No, this is one of those examples of where patience pays off. CleanSpark has pivoted. I'm real quickly going to segue over to CleanSpark real quick here. CleanSpark has pivoted to HPC. The CEO is hanging out with Mike Alfred, somebody who's done fairly well recently. And we just back tested a breakout zone that really goes back to, 2024, early 2024, for this downward trend line. So I wouldn't be worried too much about CleanSpark, especially if you have December options. I think those are going to do just fine. Now, October hopefully does well. I'm pretty sure I have some of those. But and I think it will. I think October, again, we're getting ready to see some seasonality that's just sick. So I wouldn't fret too much. I really wouldn't fret too much. It's going to end up doing just fine, especially if you have December. And we'll talk about why I believe, again, this rally is even more extended because right here, we haven't even seen the inflows into Bitcoin yet. What is the market cap of gold right now? Let's just see if we can find that. Let me see if I can pull that up over here. Seasonal, strong buy. I don't even know if it shows that over here. Let me just pull it. Let me see if I can find it over here. We'll ask Grok. I don't remember off the top of my head. Let's just ask Grok. What is the market cap? What is the market cap? What is the market cap? See if we get an answer here. What's your remaining CleanSpark and Mara position? I haven't sold any. I had options, so I'm just hanging out. It's the same position it's always been. Let's see here. What else we got? 4-year market top or bull run yet to start. Too extreme. Yeah. So, yeah, if you think this is the market top, you should just quit the investment game, especially in the Bitcoin side of things. It is nowhere close to a market top. We haven't had irrational exuberance. We've just had a steady path of up and to the right at a time where we've never had a more bullish setup. It's the complete opposite of 2021 where we peaked. And so we're starting the parabola. Seasonality-wise, October and November and even into December are the best times. And this is where 30% of the fucking gains are made for the entire 4-year cycle of Bitcoin. And we've got the best setup we've ever seen. So if you're somebody who's bearish right here, you should just quit and look for something else. What's the quick answer? Just give me the quick answer. 26.54 trillion dollars. $26.54 trillion. So right now, guys, Bitcoin is what, about 7%, 6%, 7% of gold. Gold's market cap, 6% of gold's market cap. So we could, if we doubled the price of Bitcoin to $4.5 trillion, we would still be a fraction of what gold is. I'm really on the side of we're nowhere close to the end of this. Nowhere close to the end of this. And we're going to talk about a bunch of other reasons why. I don't always agree with Caleb. He was pretty bearish for a while, but he's flipping around now, and I like it. He said M2 is growing and accelerating. He's right. And again, we haven't even seen Bitcoin really receive it yet. Credit is growing and accelerating. That's true too. I can see this in my own anecdotal information. I can see credit expansion, and we can see it in a bunch of broader metrics too. Real GDP growth rate is at 3.8% annualized. Again, we just got one of the best numbers we've seen in GDP in a very long time. The forecast for Q3 growth is 3.9%. That's very good. Prime age unemployment is 3.8%. Again, that's not bad. Financial conditions are easing. Yes. Wage growth is 4.1% year over year. Yes, we're in a bull market and you're bearish. I 100% agree with that. I want to talk about this too. Ryan said 13 of the past 14 times the S&P made a new high in September. It was then higher in Q4 and 20 out of 22 times. So many good things right now sitting behind us. Let's go over here. Jim Bianco, I want to talk about this. I think this is important. He said, so you're saying there's a chance Trump to meet congressional... Oh, actually, this isn't that important. He's got another one I want to talk about today. So this is just about a government shutdown. I actually hope we get a government shutdown. It allows us to be able to just wipe out huge swaths of the federal government. But if we don't, that works out too. We already saw that one from Dan. Let's keep going. So this is a little bit bearish, kind of, but let's listen to it. So Ryan says that the S&P, if it's greater than 10% year-to-date heading into Q4, October is down on average and higher only 50% of the time. So I've talked about for a while how I believe that gold is going to peak. And again, we just saw that gold has the highest monthly RSI since 1979. I'm going to say that's a pretty good indication of it getting ready to peak. We've also had a really great run for the S&P, and historically, it can take a breather in October. But in October and November, historically, when we're in the fourth year of the cycle, that's when we get the huge explosion in Bitcoin's price and crypto's price. So everything seasonality-wise is just setting up really good for, I think, a breather in October for equities and gold, and it's Bitcoin and crypto's time to run. I think that's what we're getting ready to start. Again, don't have a lot of time left. It's the 29th right now, so the month is coming to a head. But he said October is down on average and higher only 50% of the time. So it's about 50-50. But he said Q4 higher 14 out of the last 15 times. So either way, no matter what, even if October is lower, it's going to be better for Q4 almost all the time. All right, here's the one I wanted to talk about. The thread posted below, the notes of mortgage rates have been falling since Trump became president. Why? I think this is something that people just don't understand. Again, they expect the 10-year, 30-year to be dictating exactly what's happening with mortgage rates, but there's a lot of room. We could go into the fives without really moving rates much at all. And so he shows how mortgage rates have came from 6.94% since the beginning of the year to 6.26. So we're already, guys, almost 75 bips in the right direction for mortgages. Jesse, you think Jim Chanos is going to get wrecked on MSTR? I don't know. It depends on how well... He actually hasn't played it too bad. Oh, shit. Do I have a... Hopefully I don't have... I was getting a message about not enough for the video stream. Let me know if you guys run into any issues. I don't have the firewall up. I shouldn't. And I don't... And I just restarted my computer. So I should be really good for performance, but let me know if you have any problems. I actually think Jim Chanos could do all right. He's done really well, honestly. If you think about it, he was long Bitcoin, and I was shitting on him, but he was long Bitcoin and short MSTR, and that has been a great trade. If he's smart, he'll be out of that right now. If he's not smart, it's lagging. Fuck. Can you guys try and refresh and let me know if it's better? I don't know if this has video jumping. Shit. Why is that happening? Why is my connection slow? Let me check something real quick. Wi-Fi is off. Audio is fine, though. That sucks. I do show a slow connection, too, and I don't know why. I don't have a VPN up. You got no issues? Try and refresh, guys, and see if you're good. That sucks. Hopefully this gets better. I'll try and figure out what's going on with it. But yeah, so I think Jim Chanos has actually had a really good trade. Now, he should be out of this fucking trade. If he's not out of this trade, he's being an idiot. MSTR is not going to zero. So he needs to get out of the trade right now. If he's not out of the trade, he's going to get hurt. We'll show you something in a little bit here, too, that shows why MSTR, seasonality-wise, is getting ready to just rock it up. But I want to go back to this. So we're like 75 bips down on mortgages, right? Since Trump took over at the beginning of the year. So Jim Bianco says, some perspective, the red box below. Bank rate, U.S. home mortgage rate, 30-year, FHA, national average. So again, you can see how we're starting to trend down to some of the best mortgage rates we've really had since, this thing really spiked into 2023. And we're continuing to roll over, and that's a beautiful thing. He said he also posted this yesterday. It's now 1.6 million applications. The index reflects percentage change in refinance applications, not approvals, relative to a base. It means there were 16.1x more refinance applications than 3/16/1990. The absolute amount is not provided. So this one maybe is overly optimistic. That's okay. He said, again, some perspective, the red box in the chart below. So this is refinancing. You can see how it's already skyrocketing. We're going to see a lot of that. I think the mortgage sector and the banking sector is going to benefit a lot from the refinances, guys. Places like SoFi are going to benefit a lot. Real mortgage payment price index. So again, you can see how this is kind of topped too, and I think it's going to roll over. 30-year mortgage minus 10-year treasury is the better chart to analyze, still at an all-time high. All mortgage. He doesn't really. Yeah. So some of these others, I don't know if Jim. Let me go into here. Does his actually explain? I don't know if it does a good job actually explaining it, which is kind of funny. But it does show that mortgage rates are continuing to fall, and the reason is the 30-year mortgage doesn't directly follow the 30-year yield on the bond. So they're very different things, and we know that there was kind of an extra premium that was sitting inside of the mortgage index, and that can roll over even without rates coming down significantly, and we can probably see like another 100 bips. So again, we could get into the low fives without really much changing in regard to rates. And if you look at the 10-year, guys, I've been showing this one for a long time. It still looks ready to roll over. Today down 0.62%. Continuing its touch points lower. You got lower highs on each count over here, except for this little wick, but really the daily or the monthly candle is still lower. This thing looks like it's going to roll over. It's got bearish divergence that started in 2022, 2023, depending on how you look at it. Yields are going to come down. They're going to be forced down for any number of reasons. And I want to make sure that people really understand that. We also have the S&P still following its upward channel. TrendSpider said U.S. and China trade deal channel from May is still support until SPY loses it. Hard to lean bearish. I 100% agree. My target is still 7,500 on the S&P. Matt Huygen, Bitwise Invest. I love him. I actually think he's brilliant. He said the fiat era was an anomaly. And so he's saying the fiat era is gone and gold is coming back, or hard money is coming back, and Bitcoin is a part of that. I actually don't think the fiat era is gone, and I disagree with him here. Strategy only bought 196 Bitcoin. Thank you, Danny. I actually think stable coins will continue to pull U.S. Treasury demand higher, lowering rates while gold tops off soon and Bitcoin screams higher. And will fiat eventually go away? Yes, it will. I don't think it's happening today. I think it could take years, maybe decades, for fiat to completely go away, because I think we're going to use hard money like Bitcoin. I posted this. Capital Flows has a lot of good charts, but he said, to be clear, we're in a total credit cycle melt up right now. When we have this much foreign direct investment in the country, with such a large trade imbalance, it creates a massive liquidity impulse to the upside, eventually move to the downside. So what he's showing is foreign direct investment going up in the United States dramatically. And this is at a time where China is seeing outflows, and other parts of the world are seeing outflows in foreign direct investment. But here, it is becoming very positive. Need some smarter web and Metaplanet Hopium, please, Jesse? Yeah, I'll give it to you in a little bit here. Again, the treasury companies have been bearish, especially the Bitcoin ones. All that will change. You got to realize, guys, it's all based on sentiment. And so everything is hey, that was a stupid investment. You never should have done it. It's all going to fucking go away. And you're going to be so sorry. You're a bag holder. And then all of a sudden, right when everybody emotionally sells off because they just give up and they have no patience, then it'll go up. And you got to realize these guys are holding more Bitcoin per share every day that goes by. And with Bitcoin's price being suppressed, they're getting it for cheaper. They might not have a lot of liquidity in getting good deals in order to be able to do that. So the ones that are able to buy are the ones that will benefit the most. And I still think that those are going to do really good. I wanted to talk about this real quick. Yeah, Citigroup upgrades Bitcoin miner Riot. Citigroup has been very positive on Bitcoin and HPC plays. They actually have a price target that's almost 200,000, like 195 or something, for the end of this year. FactSet, though, said S&P is expected to report year-over-year revenue growth of 6.3% for Q3 2025, which is above the estimate of 4.8% on June 30th. We are seeing revised EPS higher, revised revenue higher. This is only going to continue. AI is pushing it that way. If you look, the sectors to benefit the most are information technology. Who's surprised? Who's surprised by infotech doing really good with all the AI enhancements and all the capital flows heading into technology sectors? And some of the largest companies on earth are technology, so they're benefiting as well, right? Communication services, healthcare, financials, utilities, S&P broader, real estate starting to pick up. That's kind of nice. The only thing down is energy, and that's fine. I think eventually that will pick up too. But real estate down, industrials, materials, real estate up, industrials, materials, consumer discretionary, consumer staples. But the real big benefactor here is infotech, healthcare, financials, utilities, stuff like that are benefiting right now. Elon, I wanted to play this real quick. I think it's so important. This is Elon talking about what's coming with AI.
The actual notion of a human economy, assuming civilization continues to progress, will seem very quaint in retrospect. It will seem like sort of cavemen throwing sticks into a fire level of economy compared to what the future will hold. I mean,
we're going to touch on this in a couple of different ways with Tesla today. There's another post that I did a little bit ago that has something from FS Insight that shows how revenue per employee is going to be a huge metric in the future for companies. And I want to compare Tesla's to a bunch of other companies and have you guys look at this. It's amazing. Do I think that the USD stops going down? It's really annoying for foreign investors. I get that. Do I think it stops going down? No. It could. Let's just look at it real quick. Let's look at it from a technical standpoint. I don't think the fundamentals want to keep it down, but it could. It could for this reason, right? At least over the short term. I'll say it could. And again, it's not crazy far from my target. Let's just do this though. So we got this going down, right? But then at the same time, we have the RSI starting to pull up, and this has really been something that's happened since about the April low, right, where everybody got super bearish. And so could the dollar strengthen a little bit? Yeah, I could see that. I still love the fact that it's so weak, though. It's so much weaker than it was or has been in this 104 range. 97 is a great range to be in. So we could get a little pickup, maybe test back up here to the 100 range before rolling over again. I think that we're deliberately trying to weaken the dollar in order to be able to help manufacturing and help earnings. You guys got to remember 50% of revenue for the largest S&P companies, the S&P 500, 50% of revenues for the S&P 500 come from international sales. And so it's very important. It's very important for those to be doing well, and Tesla's a huge benefactor of that. So it's annoying from an investment perspective. It does actually help Tesla and a lot of other companies in the S&P quite a bit. Mike says, did Trump follow through on his promise to audit Fort Knox? No. And I don't think they really care about that. I don't think gold is a priority for this administration. I do think we probably have a shit ton of it. Maybe it's less than what has been reported previously. I don't think we give a shit. And you've got to remember the changes too that were happening with the U.S. dollar and the weakness in the economy. We were talking about tariffs that would impact gold, and so we had a bunch of people shipping their gold to us too. So we're sitting in a very good position, I think, in regard to gold. Not that it matters though. I think gold is topping. Grumpy Toad, thank you to the person who gifted this membership. Yes, that's awesome. And I don't know, it might have been Manny. Maybe it was Manny from last week. Steak and Eggs. Credit is in a shadow expansion. I had a $16,000 limit on a credit card realized yesterday. They just upped mine too, right? Steak and Eggs. So we're seeing this opening up of liquidity, and it's a beautiful thing. I did want to point out something, the opposite of that. Accenture lays off 11,000 employees, warns more jobs cuts coming. So we are seeing layoffs. Let's jump over here to layoffs.fyi because I think this is a good one to look at. I want to look at previous years. So 2022, these are technical layoffs for the most part. 2022, we had 1,064 companies that laid off 165,000 people. It's giving me that error again. Hopefully the stream's doing okay, guys. Let me know. 2023, we had 264. So you can see a massive jump, almost a doubling. 2024, we only had 152,000. So again, coming back to a much lower number. 2023 was the layoff year. 2025, we're only at 89, guys. So these titles are really scary, but we are 3/4 of the way through this year, and we only have 89,000 tech employee layoffs from 204 companies. This is a fraction of what happened last year. This is way less than what we saw in 2023. So I do want to point out, and they're saying that AI is a big reason for this. It looks like there is a decent amount of that. I think there'll be a lot more layoffs because of AI. I don't know that that's the main reason for a censure. But again, if we look at layoffs, it's not that big of a deal. It's kind of a lie. So just remember that. What they're saying and the reality are very different things. Neil, okay, so real quickly, Neil posted Goldman's U.S. equity sentiment indicator moved back down to 0.6 as of Friday in light territory despite the S&P near its all-time high. Sentiment on U.S. equities is still negative. That's kind of important to know. Oh, and this is a good one. Flo sent me this. I'm going to pull this up real quick. So he said 8 minutes, 45 seconds.
Please welcome to...
This was probably the best, and I'm going to actually subscribe to these guys. This was probably the best video I watched this weekend. It was really good. So this is Blackstone's John Gray on the economy. AI is the main thing and where to invest now. And he's talking about like the energy sector. He's talking about AI. I want to jump to this 8-minute part of the conversation. But there's good stuff here. What did you say this started? 8 minutes, 45 seconds. So let's get to that real quick. There's good stuff here, guys. This is a really good video.
Out last week. Embedded in it is rental housing costs at 3.6%.
So what he's covering here is he's going to talk about housing, and he's going to talk about how a shelter is going to continue to come down. Tom Lee's talked about this too.
That is very different than what we see as the largest owner of rental housing in the United States.
Largest owner of rental housing in the United States. Again, you don't have to like these guys to listen to them and to understand what's coming.
By the way, this is the biggest category, 35% of CPI. We would say that BX-derived shelter costs from our portfolio are a little over 2%, which puts CPI reality at 2.4%.
So latest headline CPI is 2.9, but he's telling you in reality it's 2.4, which is much closer to the Fed's expectations. It shows that we're still tight. It tells the bond market on the 30 and the 10 and the 20s that they are oversold still, and that if you believe that America is going to be able to repay its debts in the future, these things are sitting at a cheap rate. Now, don't get me wrong. I, in the future, think that Bitcoin and things like some of the offerings from MicroStrategy will be better. But I also think that our government will have Bitcoin bonds and will be issuing our bonds with a Bitcoin reserve, and they'll be stacking too, and they'll have more Bitcoin per share too. Is the stream still lagging? Fuck, this is pissing me off.
Much closer to the Fed's target.
Pissing me off.
Now, it's not just rental housing costs. It's also the labor market. So every quarter we do a survey. We say to our CEOs, what are the things that are keeping you up at night? Is it tariffs, technology? And if you went back to Q1 of 22, the number one thing they said was how hard it was to hire people.
Bummer.
When we asked that same question last quarter, that had dropped to number 9. So something is happening here in the labor market. And we see it now in our numbers. I would tell you our numbers are often 6 to 12 months ahead of what you see in the government data, but these are our heads of human resources at our US companies. 4.6% wage growth a year ago, which has dropped below 3% for the first time in the post-COVID period. If I was a Fed governor, this is very encouraging when you think about inflation. Now also, cost of capital, so important, and as inflation comes down, so should rates. In Canada and Europe, they've
again, I love this because it's not the narrative right now. I'll try and figure out what's going on with my internet. It's normally really good. And again, I'm not using a VPN right now. This should be my computer is not overdone, so it should be as good as it gets. But this is amazing. The cost of capital coming down, shelter components coming down. These are all really positive for a melt-up scenario.
Obviously moved much quicker. In the U.S., we were on the path down.
Great. In Asian
the Fed
movie.
paused, given Liberation Day, wanted to see the impact of tariffs. I think we all know at 2 p.m. this number is going to go down by 25 basis points.
So.
But we would argue if these inflation trends continue, we'll continue to see costs of capital come down. That's good for businesses. It's good for consumers. And
it shows like it's my internet connection. It shows tons of drop frames right now, and my computer is sitting in a really good place. My activity monitor is showing that I'm not even using half my memory. Again, the computer was recently rebooted, so it's not any of that. It's something weird.
It's good for us as investors because the present value of cash flows are worth more. But it's not just base rates that are coming down. Here we have high yield spreads. Back in 22, when things looked scariest, high yield spreads were nearly 600 over. They've come down basically in half to 290 over. This, of course, drives down borrowing costs for companies and is very good for the transaction environment. And again, it's not just about debt, it's about the equity market. In 2021, the IPO market in the US was booming, nearly $60 billion. By 22, it was shut off. It's beginning to climb out. And at Blackstone, we've done 3 IPOs in the last couple months. Last week, we did our first US IPO since 2021. I would expect you'll see more. And across the industry, this should help with the DPI challenge that so many of you have been facing. But what is the main reason I'm enthusiastic, we're enthusiastic? What is the main thing?
Linea is something we're going to talk about too.
AI. This is the big thing. And why is it the big thing? Because it's starting with this massive investment boom, which we'll talk about, which provides the foundation for the technology, and then the AI itself.
All right, so I'm going to stop there. He goes into a long diatribe about AI. This is a long video. I'm not going to go through all of it. It's a really good one to watch. I'm real quickly in here going to just undo this and refresh. I don't think enough people watch this. People just glossed right past it. It's a really good video to watch. I'm getting just shit tons of drop frames. I'll try and figure it out though. I think there might have been an issue. I had a message about an update, and again my Stream Deck isn't working, so there's probably some things I need to figure out that we'll look at. Let's keep going down here. Try and refresh if it helps. It doesn't have to be memory. It could be high temps. Yeah, it's not high temps. My computer's actually running pretty cool. It doesn't feel warm at all. Not that I haven't had that problem before. All right, let's keep going here. Keep going down. Accenture, U.S. equities, Blackstone. This is amazing, actually, when you think about this. So Zero Hedge put, so this is debt to equity ratios of direct AI stocks, okay? So Oracle actually has a really high one. But here's what I want to focus on. Oracle stock jumped 25% after being promised $60 billion a year from OpenAI, an amount of money OpenAI doesn't earn yet. True. To provide cloud computing facilities that Oracle hasn't built yet. True. And which will require 4.5 gigawatt of power, that equivalent of 2.25 Hoover dams or 4 nuclear reactors, as well as increased borrowing by Oracle, whose debt to equity is already 500% compared to 50% for Amazon, 30% for Microsoft, and even less for Meta and Google. In other words, the tech capital cycle may be about to change. JP Morgan. So here's the thing. I actually think this is very glass half full. Maybe not for Oracle, who has way too much debt, right? But I do think that we have a massive build out coming for AI infrastructure and energy that people aren't taking into account, and I think they need to be. And again, Goldman warns the risk of U.S. economic reacceleration is rising. I love this comment. They warn that the risk of a reacceleration is rising. So they're warning us that the economy is stronger than we thought, and that it might be going up a lot. Household net worth by percentile. This is a very important number. Here, let me get rid of this. Hide player. Just get off my screen, bro. Okay. So if you look here, household net worth by percentile group, we've got the 1% again getting wealthier. But what's interesting, the 90 to 99th percentile has grown a lot too. And the 50 to 90th percentile has grown a lot. The area that's, again, seeing the least is the bottom 50%, so the bottom half of the economy. And really, it's the bottom like 30 to 40 that are really getting hit the worst. But this is amazing because we're seeing, again, growth in all of these areas. And so the top half of the economy is doing really, really good. And I don't think most people are paying attention to it. And then, again, this U.S. map, more broadly, the U.S. economy seems to be holding. U.S. map surprise index has spiked. And then we're seeing real GDP growth forecast versus tracking, and consensus is the forecast, and then Goldman's, the GS is the tracking. It's going up. It's going up. We're seeing revenues, we're seeing earnings, we're seeing all these things looking stronger and stronger. And remember what the narratives were, guys. The narrative was that the economy was going to fall apart and that everything was coming to an end and that we were all just utterly fucked. And that ends up not being true. Also, James E. Thorne posted, looks like the TGA, the Treasury General Account, has been topped up. So we've been looking at, we went from $300 billion here, let's see, probably like in July, all the way up to $800 billion now. So we put $500 billion in the Treasury General Account. This would have been a pull against liquidity in the United States. So we've been receiving a pull, and now we're topped up, and the Fed is good to go. I'm not going to go into the reverse repo. I don't really care about that right now. I don't think that's very impactful. But this is good. So the Fed is able to keep liquidity going. I also want to talk about how the United Kingdom saw $92 billion in outflows. This is just a horrific number. This is Visual Capitalists. They do a lot of really great work. You can see how money came into Canada in a small way, and in the U.S. in a pretty large way. U.S., UAE, these are the biggest benefactors. In Europe, you can see how Italy is one of the biggest, and some of these other countries are not. But like China, India, Russia, and the UK, and even places like South Korea and Brazil, places that lack freedom or have really bad issues with illegal immigration, are not doing well. And so this just shows you the capital will flow to where it belongs. And that's happening. Hopefully the stream's getting a little better. God, it still looks like shit in my internet connection, though. Ryan Detrick, this bull market will turn 36 months old in a couple of weeks. Good reminder that the average bull since World War II has been 67. So what he's telling us is we are 36 months is that we have potentially years of a bull market sitting in front of us. And I'm leaning more and more towards that all the time, even though I will be worried once we get to that $7,500 target on the S&P that I've had for a very long time. I will be worried about a pullback in the markets. Again, guys, let's just look at what's happened since we called the bottom over here. And okay, that's still good. If we look over here, again, we said, hey, especially when we bounced up to here, this is beautiful. If we're talking about where I think we're going to hit by the end of this year, which is 7,500, that is a 56% increase in the S&P over since it bottomed in April on the 7th. So this is a big deal. This is a lot of increase on the S&P. I think it would be really normal. And if we go back here, guys, let's just look at the S&P throughout this time. So this is going back to the great financial crisis that occurred in 2008. It would be pretty normal for this to then break down and maybe get down into the 6,000s or maybe even lower before we head up even more. And again, this doesn't mean that other areas of the economy aren't still taking off and other areas of the market aren't doing well. But I do think it would make sense that we have some kind of pullback unless we're just literally breaking out into a new paradigm. And it's very dangerous to say that, albeit you can see where that paradigm kind of happened in the 90s. 94, 95, like just look at this. Look at this. Look at how we just went straight up. It was a much greater acceleration over that time frame than what we've seen right now, right? Where we have this kind of consistent chop. This is what a melt up looks like. It looks like the middle part to the end of the 90s. That's what a melt up looks like. So could that happen? Yeah, it could. But I'd say it's less likely to. Oh, I wish I had a better internet connection. This sucks. Let me know how I'm still doing on that, guys. What are we going to call this new industrial revolution? I mean, it's the AI revolution, right? It's the AI and robotics revolution, and it's going to be more profound than anything we've ever seen in history. We've got Elon Musk calling it a supersonic tsunami. So that's kind of a big deal. Vivek said, it's happening. Tighten your seatbelts. Trump's going to take the Fed over. Bitcoin and crypto break for serious shock. I agree with all of that. I think that's very much what's happening. I do want to refresh this real quick. I think there might have been one thing that I missed at the top. I want to see if it's in here. Nope. Okay, maybe not. Let me just jump over here real quick. I want to make sure to show this. I probably had this under my Tesla section, which is fine. I just want to show it either way. So I sent this out to subscribers on X. It says FS Insight thinks one of the most important metrics in the future will be revenue per employee. So you can see what revenue per employee for NVIDIA is right now, but look at where Tesla is. And think about the fact that their robotics unit is just getting born, and then they're going to have all these autonomous vehicles driving around, and think about how much better they're going to be in revenue per employee by 2030. It's going to be dramatic. And so I just want to make sure that people are thinking about that too. Let's jump over here real quick. I want to do investment basics because I feel like a lot of people need to get back to this. Mike Alfred had a really good post. He said, not sure who needs to hear this, but the richest people in the world are 50% are people that self-starters. They start their own businesses. 40% are investors, 7% are athletes, 3% are artists. Employees will never get rich, or at least are a very low percentage of people that get rich. He said jobs are a scam. I don't know about that being true, but I do agree that AI will eliminate most of them. So it's very important that you embrace investing or create your own business or learn how to be really good at pole vaulting or some shit, because the rest of these are not great ways to build wealth. So I think it's very important. A lot of people don't look at things this way. They need to. If you're starting a business or you're an investor, you're 90% of the rich people, right? Or government should probably be one there too. I also want to talk about this, and this is what I did last week. I took Friday off. I spent time with my daughter. I spent time with my family. I got a bunch of projects done. I was active. It felt really great. But this is coming from Binance of all places. The world when the market is up, the world when the market is down. Just saying, go out and enjoy your life. I 100% agree with that. Also, Alex, this is the guy who likes to wear the thing on his nose all the time. But he said the best returns my money have gotten me in order. Fastest internet connection possible. I really would love that right now. Don't know why it's not working. Multiple computer screens. I've definitely got enough. Multiple chargers around the house. Got enough of those. Earplugs, blackout curtains, cool mattress, room temp temperature control, best chair and working desk, fast computer needs, air filters, pre-made meals, laundry service, house cleaning, lawn care, right? Just, again, getting home gym set up, flying semi-private. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm working on it. But I do agree that less distractions, getting it to where your life is good, this is the way. This is very much the way. So again, all these things are good advice. Warren Buffett saying that you only need a few winners. Alex saying get your life in order. Get it to where you're just creating efficiency and reducing distractions. Remembering when to go out and touch grass. And again, remembering that without investing or being a self-starter like business entrepreneur, you are not going to get rich. I think these are all very important things to understand. Real quickly, I'm going to probably jump over to the AI part super fast here. And we've got about an hour before we start. And before we get to the AI part, I'm actually going to jump over to the CNN Fear and Greed Index. If we look over here, we're still in neutral. I love that for the stock market. If we look over here to coin market cap, we're still just in fear territory right now, not even in neutral status for the crypto markets. I like that. If we look over at Trueflation, we're just going to check this out real quick. Check the dial-up connection. Ding, dong, dong. It sure feels like it. It sure feels like a dial-up connection. I'll have to check with my ISP. I've got a 2 gig down and pretty fast up, so I got to figure out what's going on here. And it's not showing right now, so we'll look at that later. On the economic side today, I really don't think we have much today. We do have pending home sales, Dallas Fed manufacturing, but that doesn't come till 9:30. We got some Fed speak, but not really important. Let's look, though. China's coming up with a bunch of data. We'll see what that looks like. I listened to somebody on CNBC that I forget what he was like the China Beige Book or something, I think. And he was talking about China and how they're doing better and all their metrics are looking better. But then went and asked, is China manipulating some of this data? And he's like, well, yeah. And then he's like, there are concerns. But I just thought it was funny that literally the guy from the China Beige Book was talking about how China is manipulating data to make it look better than it really is. It's just so true. But yeah, I think tomorrow will be more data. We've got U.S. house price index. We got the Case-Shiller home price. We got Chicago PMI, JOLTS job openings, consumer confidence, Dallas Fed services. Tomorrow will be a better day for actual economic data. So we'll be excited to look at that then. What are we going to call this new? Oh, we already got that. When Tesla new all-time high? Only Mag 7 to see not. Alex, your comment sounds like Tesla hasn't done anything, which is funny. We called the breakout down here, right? At 330, and Tesla has done pretty good in that amount of time, I would argue. Let's see here. So where are we at right now? I mean, I think personally, we still have another 22% upside to hit my target on this breakout zone. But let's just look at what we've done in a very short period of time. So we called this thing breaking out, and we said that it was breaking out like August 25th. So in a month since saying that, Tesla's up 33%. So I'm going to say Tesla's doing all right. And with another 22% to go, if a period of like 2 months we go up 50% in the price, I think that's a pretty big deal. You also have to remember that we're literally breaking out of a 5-year consolidation range, and going higher. That's all good stuff. Doge Designer, Grok leads open router across every major chart. It says number 1 on the token usage leaderboard. XAI leads all model providers. For market share, share in programming, Grok Code Fast 1 dominates code usage. So Grok is literally winning on all metrics. Probably not user metrics as far as overall users. Also, I think this is amazing too. This is from Citrini. It says, seeing is believing. We just published a new piece detailing the massive scale and investment implications of the Stargate project. This is just one. XAI and Hyperion are even bigger. So again, this is Stargate. This is Stargate. This is one Stargate, theoretically. These are bays, like where you have semis. Think of that. And so look at this project and look how big this is. It's not even done yet. And XAI and Hyperion are going to be bigger. I think a lot of people need to understand this. Also, we got Tracy Schucher chart saying we're going to need more energy and electricity for this and woefully behind the curve. Power demand from AI data centers is to quadruple in 10 years. People are looking at this as a problem. I'm looking at this as a beautiful thing. And I said the free market will address this a lot quicker than people realize. And I'm going to say Tesla is going to be a huge portion of that. I think the estimates in here for the U.S. And global data center power demand outlook are way too low. And I think China is probably too high. But yeah, in Europe, Europe is non-existent. Let's just be real. So, but it's all going to be addressed. These are good problems to have. You want the problem to be huge demand for energy. You want that. And could some people be affected for electricity rates? Sure, it doesn't really matter. Smoke away. The majority of future data center demand will be for autonomous AI researchers, not humans. This is amazing. So yes, if you listen to like Peter Diamandis and a bunch of others in the AI space, it's gonna be AI that needs AI. It's not going to be humans that are going to be taking up the bulk of it. It's going to be AI doing research to further progress itself. And again, we've talked about solving all math within less than 18 months, finding new forms of physics in our understanding of physics that we didn't understand before. We're at an exponential age, guys. It's crazy. It's really crazy. Let's see. That's the one we already saw. But again, here's the comment from Elon Musk. AI is a supersonic tsunami. It's just very much the truth, and we've only started to tap it. Anybody who telling you it's in a bubble is just really obscenely stupid. You really like Grok 4 Fast? I use it all the time. Man. Just all the time. Real quickly, though, I want to jump over. Let's jump to Trump real quick, and then we'll jump to Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's a lot of other stuff to talk about today. Democratic California Attorney General refused to remove 300,000 voters purported to be ineligible across 4 counties following a letter by Shiloh Marks. So they're trying to see if they can win an election in 2026. I think we're going to work really hard to make sure that doesn't happen. Here you got Antifa scaring police away in Portland. Again, for years, these guys have threatened. You could see one, I think it was like 5 years ago, where they found a Trump supporter at a MAGA rally walking on his own, and they said, "We found one," and then they popped some caps into him and killed him. Antifa is definitely a problem, and they're going to be addressed. Also, if we have a shutdown, guys, look at this. Tony Lane said, massive walkout alert. Over 100,000 federal employees are expected to resign, setting up for the largest exodus in U.S. history. These career bureaucrats who don't want accountability, the system is finally being exposed for what it is. The question is the crisis, is this a crisis or the reset America needs? It's the reset America needs. We're also seeing Trump talking about firing tons of people. If we do shut down, because it gives them extreme powers to be able to wipe out large portions of government. And so that's why Trump is playing hardball with the Democrats, because if we shut down the government, it actually is a huge win for him, and they know it, and they don't love it. Tesla up almost 1% in pre-market, MicroStrategy up 2%, Mara up 2%, CleanSpark up 3%, Iron up 4%. What else do we have? I don't even know how Metaplanet's doing. Metaplanet in Germany is down because Metaplanet and Japan was down and set a new low. But it's at the bottom of the barrel, guys. It's down like 75% from its high. And they're continuing to stack more Bitcoin per share. So I wouldn't worry about it. ARKG continues to go up. It's nearing its breakout zone. We've got BMNR up 3.5%. So again, Ethereum treasury looking stronger right now. SWC, it looks like in Germany, is down again. Still off the lows, but just grinding around there. We are seeing bullish divergence in those. Palantir up 1%. I think there's a lot of good stuff happening. We're getting ready to bounce. Tom Lee and BMNR bought another 200,000 ETH. I know, dude, just buying like crazy. Vlad Tenev, Harmonic Startup. Video is lagging for everyone, just me. Try and refresh. Unfortunately, the connection is a little bad, but the audio is good. I do apologize. I might skip some of this. I did want to talk about a few things, though. I wanted to talk about this. This is amazing. So Robert F. Kennedy showed how cancel culture has been so detrimental to the Democratic Party. The stunted pace of idea generation and debate across the entire liberal ecosystem has basically made it to where this is showing media matters for America, right? So this is showing a comparison of the audiences from more conservative leaning. I don't know if I'd call Theo Von conservative, but whatever, he's in there. More conservative leaning, non-democratic, like really radical ideals. And you can see in red how much better the Republican Party is doing, and then blue how much worse the Democratic Party is doing. Video's not better after a refresh. That sucks. I'll try and figure out what it is. My computer's running as cool as it can, and I don't know that I have an easy way to be able to fix it right now. I can see. I just risk crashing the stream, I think. For the video, I don't think I can get video to. Yeah, I can't change anything in OBS without rebooting. So this we'll get it fixed by Wednesday. I wanted to talk about this real quick. I'm not going to go into all of it, but this is literally Trump posting something about CBDC and cannabinoids and how we haven't done enough research into this and how we need to look for more natural methods of healthcare. And it's crazy to me that he's posting something like this. Yeah, maybe try lowering your settings for video quality, guys, might help. Lower your settings. But it's crazy seeing Trump posting something like this. This would have been a liberal thing 10 years ago. All of my pothead friends would have been saying that this is the Democrats that are pushing CBDCs or talking about the potential benefits of marijuana. and this is something coming from Trump. Okay, it's fascinating, and he's saying, "Hey, but these don't have any real, like it's not regulated. It needs to be regulated, and it doesn't have a lot of official research behind it, and that we need to be doing better." Better to perfect audio. Okay, so yeah, dumb down your settings, guys, and see if it gets better. We got a Portland resident excited about the fact that Trump is coming into Portland. We got Negative coverage on Trump's cabinet and allies. So again, Pete Hegseth, Department of War, 100% negative articles from media. 96% negative for Elon Musk. So just remember, your liberal friends are getting this, right? And then RFK Jr. is 89%. So he's the most optimistic, which is crazy. That's the one they give the nicest reviews towards. We've got 200 Oregon National Guard troops that have been federalized that are going to be going to Portland, Oregon, and other parts of Oregon, probably Portland. We got Wall Street Mav says, imagine living in a country where every year you have higher infertility, obesity, mental illness, cancers, diabetes, chronic conditions, etc. And the person, RFK, is the villain. The person asking why is the villain. I want to try and find the cause and stop autism. You are fascist. Yes, that's pretty much the way it works. 90% of H-1B visas lack key skills. This is something that's phenomenal. Again, guys, I listen to Indians talking about how this program has been abused, and mostly by Indians. And so if you got Indians telling you the program's getting abused by Indians, you know there's something wrong. 90% of Indian engineers lack key skills. So it says graduates to write correct code and code with few errors. Look at this, 9.9%. In India, China, and then the U.S. And so it says 90% of Indian engineers lack key skills, coding requirement, employability in Indian engineering. And so it's showing how we were actually getting a lot of the good ones in the United States, but we were getting these people for cheap prices and basically importing them all in. And I don't know if that's showing exactly what I thought it was. Employability in IT engineering graduates, IT product engineer 3.4%, startup IT engineer 3.7%, IT service engineers, technical support and network management. Let's look here. Graduates not able to write code. Look at this. God, it's still crazy though. You're still looking at 65% of these people not being able to write correct code or not being able to write compilable code in the United States, which is fucking crazy. So that is nuts. Yeah, thank you for smashing the like button. I appreciate it. I think that's probably it. Real quickly, though. Stephen Moran's talking about Comey, Clapper, Brennan, Obama, Monica, all conspired together to try and sabotage the democratic institutions of this country. I cannot find words harsh enough to condemn the conduct of these conspirators. These insurrectionists. So people are calling for the murder of Stephen Moran now, or Miller. I'm sorry, not Moran. He's the economist one. And I think they're doing that for a reason. I think that he's going to be, they're going after all the bad guys. And Obama was one of them. Again, Obama was trying to basically prevent Trump from being elected all the way back in 2016. And we've got Des Moines, all Democrat, all female school board hired a new superintendent based upon purely on his skin color. So a DEI hire who was an illegal immigrant, who had weapons charges, who was making $300,000 a year. This is just insane. I won't go into all the Antifa stuff. I don't think that really matters. I think we're done with this part. Let's move on. So let's jump over. I want to jump over to Ethereum first, and then I'm going to get to Bitcoin. And again, sorry about the connection. I wanted to point to this because this is really important. So again, XRP said that it was in bed with Swift and that everything was good. But it wasn't, evidently, because Swift, the messaging backbone for 11,000 banks and moving $150 trillion annually, has reportedly chosen Linea, an Ethereum layer 2 for on-chain messaging and settlement tests. Major global banks, BNB, Paribas, I'm probably saying that wrong, BNY, Mellon, and others are involved in the pilot. Huge step forward for ETH adoption. So again, ETH is growing. We'll definitely do Sol too. The financial system is being rebuilt on Ethereum. So these are all the players that are building on ETH, whether it be Robinhood, UBS, BlackRock, JP Morgan, Visa, PayPal, Swift, Fidelity, Coinbase, all these companies, right, around the world. And again, Swift made it sound like, or I should say that that XRP made it sound like literally this is all, they got it all locked up and it was all going to be them. Just in, Ethereum average daily TPS, this is transactions per second, new all-time high of 337. So it's getting quicker, and you can see how the majority of that is layer 2. If you look here, layer 1 is still very, very low. So this is the actual Ethereum layer network. This is why the burn has been so low. The burn is a mechanism to ensure that there isn't congestion on the layer 1 network of Ethereum. We haven't had any real burn, which keeps the inflation close to Bitcoin's. But layer 2s are getting faster and faster and able to do more and more transactions. Let's keep going. And again, Ethereum is ready to bounce. It did a perfect back test. Let's just look at Ethereum here. I'll look at that chart. And it looks really good, guys. I mean, again, we back tested off of previous resistance, right? This was resistance going all the way back to 2022. We back tested off of it, perfectly bounced off of it, are above the fib now and looking to go higher. I think we can still do a 55% pump, maybe even in October for Ethereum. I know that sounds crazy, but for you guys that are new here, man, once we start running, we start running. We start running a lot. And somebody wants to talk about Sol. I mean, the Sol setup, let's look at that. And then I do want to talk about Solana too, and we'll pull that up next. So we did do this, right? We did the inverted head and shoulders. And I drew this down, and it did go down. And I still think that Bitcoin could even go down. I think Bitcoin could go to 100K, guys. It's not over yet. We could still drop. But this is, again, and this could drop more too. Maybe we get to 170 or something. But it's an inverted head and shoulders, and it's getting ready to take off. And I think Solana, my targets are still very, very much higher than where we're at right now. If you want to be conservative, I think that Solana is going up to the 650 range. I think it could still go up to 1,000 though before it quits. That's not crazy, guys. That's a 5x. That would put it at a $500 billion market cap. It's not a crazy number. Remember that gold is sitting at like what, $25 trillion, and Bitcoin is less than 10% of that. It's like 8% of that, 7% of that. So there's a big move once people get more speculative and realize that the economy isn't falling apart and that they've done really well on gold and they're starting to feel more bullish about the United States. I could see a lot of money flowing into Solana, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. Yeah, Ethereum holdings over time are just going to the moon for a Bitminer. Real quickly, though, I want to go back here. I want to go to Solana because I do want to talk about that. So Solana, major ETF firms, including Grayscale, Fidelity, Bitwise, and Van Eck, and others have filed for amended S1 documents with the SEC for Solana ETFs that include staking features, and these ETFs may win approval within 2 weeks. If this happens, this could be a huge next leg for Solana. Solana is getting way over 400. If you think a doubling of something with a market cap that size, I mean, it's getting way over that. So, but this could be a huge catalyst for Solana in the not too distant future. So make sure that you're paying attention to that and ready for it because it's coming. All right, real quickly. Those invested in Metaplanet and Smarter Web Company, a healthy reminder that I follow is invest an amount that you can afford to not look at. These are my biggest losers right now, but I don't check daily. Yeah, and again, just realize that they will be losers until they're not, and the narrative will change so fucking quickly it'll make your head spin. Splink said FTX to distribute $5 billion tomorrow. First major creditor payout over $5 billion in stablecoins. Nice. So that's good. Having FTX do a distribution is really good. I wanted to show you this too. So this is from Jelly. It says when September closes green, Bitcoin tends to keep the rally for quite some time. So they were showing how September is green too, but showing how October and November also tend to be good. In 2024, they showed December being red, but I want to show something else here. I want to show down here. So I think 2021 was an anomaly. Again, we raised rates at the most aggressive rate in history. I think October, November, and December would have been really green. But they do have a point here. September, again, green when everybody said it wasn't supposed to be. And if you look over here, October and November strong in 2024, 2023, October, November, and December strong and upside. If we look over here, though, the thing I want to point out is not just what they said. You can see that same pattern in 2016 and 15. But essentially, we're in like 2021. We're in like 2017. We're in like 2013. So what happened in 2013? November saw 449% increase. And then we had topped, and then December fell. What happened in 2017? We saw October up 47%. We saw November up 53%, and we saw December up 39%. And so again, we're more like that. We're more like that where it can go up a lot over these months, because that's where we are in this point of the cycle, is 2017, 2013, 2021. But again, 2021 was weird because in November we were raising rates at the most aggressive rate in history, and we killed all markets. So I would argue that it's going to be more like that. It's going to be October, November, and maybe even December too, this year. And rate cuts are helping that. So gold is pumping, very positive. It expands the overall store of value market for Bitcoin to capture, stack accordingly. Market Bitcoin, 2.2 trillion. Market cap for gold, 25.7 trillion. BTC is 10x better. Bro, we're so early. And he's right. It is. We got Vivek Ramaswamy with the 16th largest Bitcoin treasury company. Richest people in the world are buying BTC. We know that's true. Mr. Anderson said, I believe most Bitcoiners would take this deal. A 5-year loan with 0% interest, no liquidation risk to buy Bitcoin. That is most of the Bitcoin treasuries, at least the good ones. So just remember that. They're taking out 5-year loans to ensure that they've got plenty of time to get the return. 0% interest. In like Metaplanet's case, a lot of these are 0% or just, again, very low interest rates, and don't have liquidation risk. They don't have a lot of debt. Their balance sheets look way better than regular companies, and they're buying Bitcoin with it. And people are bearish. Do you still own Sequoians? Yes, I've got options in it. Still waiting for that one to do good. Again, I think if the market turns around and sentiment really shifts in Bitcoin's favor, I think we're going to see that go up as well. But maybe Ethereum and Solana do it first. We will see. Doesn't have to be that way. So far, we're up 1.5% on Tesla again today, guys. Pierre Rochard saying you have to hold BTC longer than 5 years to be guaranteed a compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of greater than 0% according to historical worst case scenario. The longer than 6 years, you're getting an over 20% Bitcoin CAGR. So it's all about holding it for a long time. And again, here's the $199,000 price target for Bitcoin over the next 3 months from Citibank. I actually do think that's possible. And Tom Lee reminding us that 95% of investors are not invested in Bitcoin. Let's listen to that.
Yeah, I think Bitcoin is, if you're buying Bitcoin today, it's still early. I don't think it's too late. So if you have zero exposure to Bitcoin and you feel like you missed it, 95% of investors have zero Bitcoin exposure.
And that's a big deal. Oh, there's a little more.
So
here.
you're still way ahead if you're buying Bitcoin today. If you look at Bitcoin wallets, comparing it to the internet, we're back to 1996 levels. Internet went exponential from 1996. So it's still the earliest days. I think Bitcoin is very useful because in the future, we're not going to be able to trust anything, because cybersecurity, there's nothing secure anymore. Even someone takes our voice, translates into Korean using my voice, you'll never know what's true anymore. So you need to be able to trust a system. The blockchain, the Bitcoin blockchain, is the most trusted blockchain. And that's why the United States wants to have 1 million Bitcoin. US companies are buying Bitcoin. Banks will soon carry Bitcoin as collateral.
All right. I agree with all of that. Sorry, I was testing my internet connection speed too. It's actually not that bad. So there is something else going on here. But again, I got some error messages earlier. Maybe that's part of it. I might need to update my OBS and my Stream Deck. So I'll work on that later. Short-term holders tend to do this hilarious thing where they capitulate at exactly the wrong time. That is 100% true. This is from Frank, and it just shows how today was another day where the short-term hodlers, I love this, the short-term hodler Bollinger Band is a beautiful metric. It shows how over here, they capitulate right at the bottoms. Over here, they capitulate right at the bottoms. Over here, they capitulate right at the bottom. And then we go higher. And our band is it has a ways to go before it gets overheated. So they are a good indicator of the fact that, you can go higher. We got MicroStrategy stacking, not a ton, couple hundred. Edward Snowden, I wanted to reiterate this before we stop on the Bitcoin side of things. Gold is just Bitcoin that can't be sent over the internet. That is 100% true. I wanted to talk about this too, though. Titan of Crypto pointed this out. He said, I still think we could hit 100K and then bounce off of that and go higher. I think that's possible. I don't know if that's going to happen, but I think you should realize that it's possible. And I think I talked about it somewhere over here. If Bitcoin doesn't bounce at the start of the week, I could see it drop to wipe out leverages around 111 to 112. We did get that right. That's exactly what happened. Take a look at MSTR seasonality since BSE. So since they started their Bitcoin strategic reserve, we're currently in the 37th week. And if seasonal trend holds, we have a lot of green. So this just shows 37th week. We're right now, and this was said on September 12th. So really, we were in the 38th week, and what we should be seeing based on historical trends are much better consistent price performance over the next several months based on historical trends. And I do agree that that's probably going to happen too. Also, if you guys do end up moving out of leverage plays like miners and treasury companies and all these other things that are multipliers of Bitcoin, including shitcoins, but you still want to hold some regular tied to the price of Bitcoin investments, IBIT is probably going to be your best investment. And why do I say that? If you look at Bitcoin ETF inflows, it's really all IBIT. All IBIT. So if you look here, like there's virtually no volume. GBTC is still bleeding. But IBIT is the flow generator right now. So if you want to ensure that you're going to be able to have liquidity when you're looking to exit, that's the one to work with. Also, Vivek said 200,000 Bitcoin is happening faster than you think. I still say, again, Bitcoin has not got the blessing of global liquidity. But if you look at these same charts with global liquidity and gold, you're going to see that they've been falling very, very much in line. So I'm going to say that Bitcoin is lagging, and that it will catch up and explode higher. That's what's going to happen. I also wanted to remind people of this. Henry Ford, the same person who came up with the modern manufacturing line, predicted Bitcoin 103 years ago. This is real. He said Ford would replace gold with energy currency and stop wars. This was at a time before we had computer technology, but he thought that energy as a form of currency was better than gold and that it could work to help stop wars. So some of these ideas that you've heard from other people, they aren't original. They've come from a long time ago from very, very smart people. Echo said it'll probably be rotating into IBIT when the time comes. Yes. Matt said, I wish I understood crypto better. Am I wrong to say for them to have long-term value, it would require the uses of each of the individual coins for everyday purchases in the place of the dollar? No. And it depends on what you're talking about. Again, stable coins are a growing industry. We actually have, I think it was Citibank too, that said that they see in the years ahead stable coins growing to $4 trillion. USD stablecoins. So that's a very big deal. We already talked about this with Tesla, so we'll move on from this. And Bitcoin just needs to be a store of value. Ethereum can be the stable coins. Solana can be a portion of the stable coins. Other ones can too. They just have to hold U.S. treasuries. And there'll be 95 to honestly probably 99% of crypto will go to zero over time. So again, you want to be in the winners for sure. Lynn posted this, the best bet on physical AI. I agree with this, actually. I think that physical AI, that it is very much Tesla, and I think a run to the 1000s for this part of the cycle is very possible over the next year and a half. I think we can get to 1,000 over the next year and a half. Mike P posted this, and I think it's very true, just talking about Tesla. Things you'll never have to do if you buy a Tesla. Start the car, turn off the car, unlock the car, lock the car, turn on the headlights, turn off the headlights. The locking and unlocking the car, technically, if you don't have your Bluetooth on, you might have to unlock the car. But yeah, you don't have to do these other things. Carry a key. Nope. Put the car in drive or reverse. Technically, you might not have to do that too, because again, it remembers that if you're in your driveway and you need to back up, it's just going to default to that. You don't have to put the car in park. It'll do that automatically. You don't need an oil change. You don't need to change your spark plugs. You don't need to worry about the exhaust. You don't need to interface with a gas pump or credit card machine when fueling. You don't need to enter a hot or cold car. It'll do all that automatically. Be slower than other cars on the road. Use 2 pedals to drive the car. Things you don't have to do if you want to buy a Tesla park. So, again, it's just, you don't even have to drive it. it's such a better product versus everything else that's out there. It's fucking insane. We also had Elon and Donald Trump hanging out again at a restaurant over the weekend, which is a good sign. We got Elon liking this post, which I love. This guy says, we're in our early 70s, have diminishing eyesight, slowing reflexes, and heightened anxiety anticipating having to drive. My parents are getting closer to this, right? Traded our 2023 Outback Touring for a 2026 Model Y long range with FSD. Love it. We live in the very busy, ever-changing Las Vegas, Henderson Valley. Hardly ever have to intercede or basically take over. This is a new lease on life for us. Can't wait for version 14, which I think is supposed to start coming out like this week. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it's beautiful, right? It's beautiful. One day blue diamond. All right, let's keep going here. Real quickly, let me see more chat. Let me just see if I missed anything here. Oh, wow, you guys have been chatting a lot. Let me go back up. Marquis says Zeus is entering to Jesse. It looks like BTC on Sol to mint ZBTC, generate 3 to 4% yield. If this project goes well, it can. Yeah, I'm really not looking. Be pretty big for treasury company and holders. I don't know what Zeus is. Is that another shitcoin? I'm really not paying attention to anymore, honestly. 850Z, can I still trade my Sequoians options? Yeah, you can. I think you can. Disease Kodak, Marty Party is big on Zeus. I have some. Okay. Yeah. 850Z, do you still own Sequoians? The Alfonso, Jesse, what are your best plays for data center? I actually think Tesla is probably the best play on data center. It's a large cap. It's got a lot of catch up to do. It's breaking out of a 5-year consolidation. It's not going to give you the returns of some other things. But I don't know. I'm trying to look at that. I'm trying to look at energy. I'm trying to look at like minerals. I'm trying to look at build out of data centers. I don't know. Maybe SMCI is a good play on that. They do a lot of building out of data centers. But they also haven't done very well recently. I think they had some revisions lower for earnings expectations in the future, but I don't know if that's changing. If you guys have ideas on it, though, I want to hear about it. Over the next couple of months, I'm going to want to hear about a lot of ideas, and I might even start eventually going back to daily YouTube sessions again. And after I fix my fucking whatever the problem I'm having right now with my OBS. So I will want to look at tickers more. I will want to hear about companies and ideas that you guys have. And I won't be rejecting things as quickly as I have in the past because I'm going to be looking towards what I want to focus on next with my money after the cycle comes to an end here for Bitcoin and crypto. So Spag Eddie said Sol ETF approvals coming in October. Thoughts on Sol? Is it going to correct like BTC and ETH did after approvals? I'm going to say no because I don't think anybody's paying attention to it, and Sol has not run. So you can't really have a sell the news event when you haven't even had a buy the rumor. So I'm going to say no. Gary said BlackRock presentation talked about utility companies, data center plays. Yes, exactly. That's why I reposted that one. There's a lot in there. They also talked about commercial real estate having a comeback. I agree. That was interesting too. I mean, it's been in a rout for years and years and years. So that it makes sense that it could be nearing the bottom. So yeah, if you guys have ideas, you're eyeing VPU. Yeah. Again, as these next couple of months progress, do some due diligence and research, guys. I'll try and do the same too, but I'm just one person. Do due diligence on the areas where you think that they're going to be the ones coming up and come with some kind of presentation of your idea. Hey, there's this stock. I think it's going to do really good for this. Check out this. Let's crowdsource together and figure out what kind of investments we want to talk about. Don't just throw out a bunch of tickers right now. We might do that in a second, but yeah. But let's do that in the months ahead. And again, I might actually end up going to daily YouTube videos as well. It's a lot of work for me to do that because I got to keep up with everything and I got to be able to present it all. And then it just takes a lot more time. But we're going to be getting to a point where we'll end up doing that. Maybe it's nearing the end of October. I don't know. Let's keep going down here. Hardware 3.0 ever get to full autonomous driving? I mean, so Drunk Donkey, do you have a Tesla? Can you tell me that, dude? And And I don't know. I don't know about 3. I don't use 3 as I gave 3 to my parents, right? So I don't really use 3 anymore. All my vehicles are running 4. I don't know if it'll ever be fully autonomous. I don't use it, but I can tell you this: Elon already said that he'll upgrade 3 to 4 for people that need it. So it doesn't really matter. But 4 is basically already fully autonomous. Sony, looking at Iron. Yeah, Iron is interesting. I'm just trying to figure out if it's going to be coming to the end or not. Iron has already went so parabolic, and I need to fundamentally understand, is Iron hyped, overhyped? Because again, we already had a hell of a run, 850% on this thing since the bottom in April. So this thing, when everybody was scared about tariffs, this thing bottomed, and it's up 850% over that period of time. And now we're consolidating over this fib. Could it go up another 100% and double and do a Palantir? Maybe. Could it go even higher than that if the fundamentals are right? Yeah. But or is it a bunch of hype and it's just done really well and you throw all your money into it now and then it goes nowhere for the next year or two? I don't know. I don't know enough about what they're doing and what the real demand is and what the real contracts are. I don't know, but I do think HPC is going to help a lot of stuff go up, at least for the remainder of this Bitcoin cycle, which I like. Starting to look at graphene, looking into Sterling Infrastructure. That is their business. They literally just build data centers. Interesting. Okay, so that's one we should probably keep on our... What's their chart? Casbah, daily? Yeah, I might. Yeah, I'm probably going to, by the end of October, go daily. At least for the month of November, maybe heading into December, until I decide I don't want to do it anymore, or I've hit 10 or 12 million. STRL, Echo, thank you. More Jesse is never bad for us. Still buying a dream house? Yeah, but I wasn't going to do it. I decided not to do it, and frankly, I'm so glad I took that capital. I was going to end up having to put like $370,000 down on a $1 million house because of the shittiness of my income and wealth and where things were sitting. And I'm up to $275,000 a year in annual reoccurring revenue right now just from social media stuff, but that operates on a delay, and then you have to average it out over 12 months. And it was a lot of weirdness, and I didn't want to devote a huge amount of capital towards purchasing a house that was probably going to go down in value. And that house that I was going to buy actually still hasn't sold, and it looks like they're lowering the price. So, and interest rates are going down, so I feel very good about not doing that. If anything, we're probably looking at buying land, maybe spending $500,000 on a couple of acres in the right place, a gated community or something, the beginning of this next year, and then looking to build. And I'm very happy that I devoted that money and just put it back into the markets. Jay Duff, are miners still just short-term crypto plays, or now are they switching business models to run longer? I don't know. And I wouldn't look at them as being anything more than just a short-term play, unless we can figure out and really determine otherwise. Jesse, have you watched much of the UN meetings? What are you thinking about Russia and war? I think Russia is in a very bad place for war. I think it's a bunch of blustering. And Russia would be devastated. They need to get out of the war right now. They have no choice. And I think here's the thing, and this is I know we have people from Taiwan in here, so I hate to say this, but I just want to be real. So I think that the U.S. government has told China that if they can hold off on going to war with Taiwan a couple more years, that we'll just let them have it. And I hate to say that because I know there's people that watch this show that are in Taiwan. But I think that's probably what we're doing. Look at it this way, guys. If you live in Taiwan, I'm sorry to say that. But look at it this way. Pretend you're the U.S. or a Western power, and Taiwan is 90 miles away from China. China is massive in scale from military and everything else. We're definitely trying to give the ability for Taiwan to defend itself. But I think if we reach a point where we've got all the chips we need, we'd probably let China have Taiwan, but we'd probably destroy their chip-making facilities. I think that's what would happen. And then we would help some people get off the island. I think that's what would happen. Because right now we're devoting all of our resources to making the Americas great. North America, South America. Think about what we've been doing. We're focused on Venezuela right now. We're focused on trying to push Brazil away from communism and socialism, right? Colombia, communism, socialism. We've got Argentina that we're helping financially and said, basically, we'll do whatever they need. Scott Bessent and Trump both said that, right? And Argentina was the next United States of America. Imagine what happens if we can bring that back from the brink. But I think everybody, these people talk about this in really negative ways. But I think Trump is saying, hey, we've got everything we need in North and South America to become the greatest civilizations on Earth by far. And think about it, even just the Muslim threat, guys, if you think about the threat of Muslims taking over, not very likely that that's going to happen in South and Central America anytime soon. Heavy Christian population with Hispanics. They have not been migrating to these countries. So if you think about it, just the United States, if we get power, or if we get parts of Canada in the future, if we get Greenland, if we start building relationships with Central and South America, and we're all kind of the same unified force, we'll be very, very powerful. Even if Europe is in decline, even if Taiwan gets invaded and taken over, it does not matter. We will have everything we need as far as resources and then some, and we could be the most powerful. The North and South hemispheres of the Americas could be the most powerful force on this planet by far. And so I think that's the game plan. I think it's get rid of Maduro and Venezuela and take over. And then, because there's so much oil there. MU and EOC. I shit on EOC for a long time. There's a lot of those that I need to revisit. Am I in a red state? Yes. But I'm in an ever increasingly blue city, evidently. Mike, Palantir just announced a new $410 million to 1 year contract with the State Department. $410 million a year. Beautiful. That's beautiful. I love Palantir. I've been stacking. I think I'm at like 5,000 to 7,000 now. I don't know. I'm just slowly adding. Wendell Davis, DRAM memory for short AI data storage for phones, cars, etc. I'm interested in that, but I've also been looking where memory requirements are going to be dropping with some newer technologies. But again, new technology, I don't even count until it really gets to full deployment and you can see it operating on scale. Where do you think mortgage rates end up by the end of the year or end up next year? I think they're probably going to be in the fours. In the fours. I think that's very realistic. I think we're going to have strong growth. I think the Fed will lower rates. I think people will start to look at the U.S. economy by early next year as being strong and being world leading. We can already see that with foreign direct investment and just all the pro-growth policies that people overlook every day. And so I think you're going to see very, very strong data next year, and we're going to see rates coming down dramatically because, again, there's all these levers that we haven't even done. Supplemental leverage ratio. Nobody's even talking about it. All the assets that we could lease, like all of our public lands that we could start to monetize, revaluing gold, just so many different things that we can do. Anthony, Jesse, maybe eventually you appear during market crashes or euphoria for some guidance after you reached your targets. Yeah, maybe. After I reach my targets, I think what I'll probably end up doing, I might drop down to 1 day a week. And then again, during really... And this is saying if I reach 10 to 12 million by the end of the year, guys, and I'm sitting in a really good place that's like life-altering money for the rest of my life and being able to help out a bunch of other people, I might cut back a little bit more. I still love this, and so I'm going to keep on doing it. But I don't know if I'll do YouTube videos all the time. Trump just announced 100% tariffs on movies outside of the United States. I thought we already did that. Didn't we already do that? Are we doing that again? I mean, or did he just talk about doing it a long time ago? I don't know. I know we're trying to. I don't know that. If that's true, what does that do to Netflix? What does that do to Netflix? Besant, I'm in, you SOB. Wendell Davis, thoughts on Trump deporting people to open up jobs for all the jobs being replaced by AI? I actually think that's exactly what he's doing, right? I think we're getting rid of all the criminals, and I think we're deporting a bunch of extra immigrants that came to the country and are taking jobs, especially at the low end of the spectrum. But again, the H-1B visa program, we're trying to get it to where people that are in higher end jobs, qualified like tech jobs and other things, that they have the ability to be able to find employment too and not have them given to a bunch of Indians in a different country. And I say that just because like 72% of the H-1B visas were going to Indians. I have Indian friends who I love, and I want them to stay here. And I want a stronger relationship with India. But I can see why Trump is doing what he's doing. At the same time, he's saying going forward, we're not just going to give our jobs to a bunch of Indians where the companies are treating these employees badly because they can. They can give them lower pay. I think the average H-1B visa pay is $65,000 a year. And that's just not a lot of money. But it allows them to undercut. It allowed Silicon Valley to undercut the jobs of other people in the United States that maybe were, I don't know, more skilled or comparably skilled, but would have been easily six figures, not $65,000. So they were just really using it for cheap labor. Let's just be real. That's what Silicon Valley was doing. It wasn't for the most skilled people like the Elon Musk and everybody else. It was to import cheap labor, and we're ending that. And again, guys, don't expect that the market is done dropping. I still think we can drop. If we look in the bottom right corner for Bitcoin right now, we can see that in the bottom right corner, that 4-year trend line, 4.5-year trend line, we are not above it yet. It is, I've got it in green. I should really have it in red. We are not above it. And so we could reject here and then drop down to like 100K or like the 200 moving average on the daily at 104, wipe out a bunch of leveraged people to the short, to the long side again and before we go higher. So just remember that. I don't think we're done dropping yet. While I'm talking here and looking at chat, because you guys are chatty as fuck, especially for a shitty internet connection, we're just going to look over here. So we got BABA up a bunch again. I don't know if people are buying BABA. That's just so stupid. Intel's down after having a really good week. Tesla's up 1.57%. Everything's looking pretty good this morning, but again, I would just be ready for a potential pullback. I do want to jump over to Tesla real quick, and then I'll try and get caught up in chat again. SpaceX is building a $250 million Giga Bay at Starbase to ramp up Starship production. 700,000 square feet facility aims to produce 1,000 rockets per year by the end of 2026. I'm sorry, what? 1,000 rockets per year by the end of next year? Do I have a theory on the 4-year cycle? I think it will operate in some way, but I think it's true to say that the inflation rate is going to be less important than the future. It will get better in 4 years, or actually 3 years, a little less than 3 years, 3.5 years from now, or I'm sorry, 2.5 years from now, when we have the Bitcoin halving cycle again. We will see the inflation rate get better, right? We will see it get better. And it will be cut in half again, and it will be like 0.75% or 0.6, whatever it is. And that will be impactful and help the network again. But I do think it's going to play a much lower role. It's just not going to matter as much as it did in the past. I think it's not going to matter. Real quickly, I'm going to hit the restroom super fast. We got a little bit of time. We got 13 minutes before the bell rings. I do want to pull up some stocks today, so I need to be ready to do that. Give me 1 second here. I'll be right back.
Neither here nor there, but I did think that was a great piece. And I will tell you, David.
Yes.
Until the OpenAI, the performance obligations we saw with Oracle, I was fine. I was fine because no one was borrowing money. Suddenly, I don't know. Now it's Larry Ellison. Okay, it's Sam Altman. Now, Sam Altman, hey, Sam Altman, Sam Altman.
Yeah, and Sam Altman.
Exactly.
Larry Ellison.
My feeling, Sam Altman.
But also, you're all about Michael Intrader. And there, by the way, there's a lot of debt there.
Intrader is building out the infrastructure a la 2000. He wants to win, though. No one else is there. Everyone's going to have to deal with Intrader. No one works harder than Intrader. He's a true New Jersey guy dealing with Silicon Valley. Can you imagine?
Jersey Mike, I call him. Not work. And we'll get to what they said at Walmart.
These things break down constantly. Jersey Mike's there immediately.
You're concerned about debt, but not when it comes to Jersey Mike.
I think CoreWeave's got the orders in hand.
Okay.
Orders in hand, David.
Okay. Well, you've been right.
Like Lucid.
You've been right.
Remember that last order they had in January? Was that worse than the October Nortel? Come on, speak to me.
I remember it well. I remember it well. Listen.
Or the Brazilian order didn't come through. Remember that?
A lot of the orders didn't come through.
Brazilian.
So you're so back and forth. I love CoreWeave, but then he goes back to making an illusion.
I think CoreWeave knows you have to build it out.
You have to
First mover. They're the only one building it out. There were like 10 companies. This is just CoreWeave's to win, David.
McGinn, Rich
Jersey
McGinn.
Mike's got this.
Rich McGinn.
Rich McGinn.
CEO.
Jim, we don't have the Brazil order. What Brazil order?
Lucy sound that you used to do whenever Lucid came up.
Yes.
Wouldn't you play Lucy?
Oh, you love that. What did you play for when Nortel didn't get those orders that Dito Reynolds made?
We're going to kill these guys real quick. And let me get caught up in chat again. I don't know. We might have to do the looking at tickers and stuff later. I want to really fix this and figure out what the fuck is wrong with this connection and why it's dropping. Or why it's so shit. It doesn't appear to be the internet. It's something with the processing. So there's something weird here. I think it's probably because the version of OBS, I haven't updated it in so long. I think I'm having technical issues. Turn off Kramer, please. Yeah, right. I don't blame you. DRAM, especially HBM, is the lifeblood and throttle of AI, force-feeding GPUs, terabytes per second. So models can actually think at scale. Without it, revolution suffocates GPT. Blazing fast memory, fueling AI's insatiable hunger for data is the unsung hero for the neural networks. Yeah, I know I was looking at MU before, too, based upon that. Definitely interested to see which of these might end up being a really solid investment in the years ahead. I mean, if we look here at Micron, let's see how is Micron done? Stock ticker. So we're sitting at 158. We were down to 64. So it's had a hell of a bounce since the lows. But really, if you look over here since 6/18 of 2024, it's not much higher than it was. It's right about the same price. Forward PE is only 12 on Micron. There's dilution, but their revenues are going up like crazy. Their net income is good. Their cash flow is going in the right direction. Their assets are building up. It seems really cheap. It definitely seems really cheap for Micron. Oh, what is that about? Man, I just got like issues galore today. Let me see if I can adjust this. Okay, there we go. A little less twitchy. But let me see. Sentiment right now is positive. Let's look at estimates. I mean, this looks good. It looks crazy to me, actually, that Micron is operating in a forward PE of 12. So there's some like this that are very interesting. What did you say the other plays were, Wendell? Definitely keep coming back here, Wendell, because we probably need to talk a lot more about some of these. I think a forward PE of 12 is just insane when you look at revenue growth year over year of 46% and you see profit growth of 258%. This definitely seems like something that could pop in the future. And I know the CEO has impressed me a bunch over time. Let's look at ASML. Yeah, some of these we've looked at in the past. Marvel is another one. I don't know all of them. What would be your favorite pick out of them, Wendell? Or a couple of favorite picks. So this one's running a forward PE of 31, quite a bit higher. Revenue growth 23%, profit growth 47%. So it doesn't look like it's having the acceleration. They're not issuing as much shares as the other ones. It looks like flat guidance. Is UPS a good long-term ad? It's been beat up like crazy. Juicy dividend too. Can you look at the chart? Yeah, maybe. I don't know if I'll get through too many charts today. Am I still lagging? Yeah, I'm still lagging. I fucking hate that. Taz, PE of PayPal is insane too. I hate PayPal so much. I had 2-year leaps on these things, and I eventually finally just sold out and put the money into other things, and I'm so glad I did. PayPal has this weirdness. They're doing a great job with, share buybacks. Again, they're going to have no shares left eventually. Their cash flow, their free cash flow keeps dropping. So they're getting less and less of that. Their debts are increasing. Their debts are higher than their cash and their bonds. So that's going in the wrong direction. I'm not excited about PayPal. I don't feel like they've done a good job growing. Their active customer count is a lot different. Total payment, they've got a lot of extra money sitting around. but I just don't love the company. They've really failed, and they're just like a liberal, woke pile of shit. And I think they're going to die unless they really start to do something great. Jesse, could you look at DLO, please? I haven't looked at DLO in a while. Let me actually look at their financials real quick. There's probably a bunch of these I'm missing. I need to do a lot more of this in the future. Still, blue diamonds in the day, chart, BTC, ETH. Yeah, I don't care about charting too much right now. Matt Krasiski, maybe Elon could buy it. Buy what? What did I miss? So DLO, it looks great as far as growth, right? Their forward PE is 20. Their transaction payment volume continues to go up. Their revenue continues to go up. Their net income is good. Their cash flow is good. I've got options for these. At least I think I did. I don't know. They might be dead now. I think I had them for 2026. I don't know. But their operating expenses are going up, but they're starting to devote more to R&D. But this company does not look bad. Look at estimates. Estimates continue to show just accelerated growth. I don't know. Shares held short. Short percentage. What is short percentage? 12%. Still a lot of short interest in this, honestly, considering. I like DLO. I don't know. I've still got options on that. I wonder if they're worth anything at all. Oil dropping slightly. Oil actually, yeah. Oil's going to probably try and rebound. I think we see a better chance of a rebound in the dollar than we do oil. Oil's just not going to go anywhere. OPEC's deliberately driving it lower, which is good. It's good for the economy. And Saudi Arabia is leading that because they love us. DLO, these are worth money again. That's crazy. My DLO options are for January of 2026. So we got to pick up the pace, guys, for DLO. They're 34 strikes, so I don't know how possible that is. What is the price right now at? 14. Fuck. If we could get a good run in this thing, I might be able to get out of those contracts at least and get my money back. Yields may roll over. How dollar and yields look? So yields do look like they're rolling over. We talked about that. I showed the 10-year earlier. They look like they want to pull lower, and they can. And at the very least, the mortgage rates can go lower even without the yield or without much of any change in the Fed fund rate. And the dollar is probably finding, just from a technical standpoint, it's probably finding some strength. They expired. Yeah, they could be dust. But they were actually dust for a long time, and now they're worth like 13,000 plus and change. You'd be surprised how quickly things can turn around. If we have a melt up in the United States and the dollar is still looking weak, and that would be very positive for foreign markets. Like emerging markets, I should say. Could you take a look at Tilray? DXY found strength in the 17th. Yep. Wendell, Jordy timeline is MU, ASML, AMAT. TER is how he's predicted the rotation. TER is how he's predicted the rotation. I don't know what that acronym stands for, if that's a person. Jordy thinks MU has played out. He's looking to ASML. Gosh, see, from a financial standpoint, MU looks way better. It looks way better. ASML looks like it has way lower growth. And MU looks like it's deeply undervalued for the growth expectations that it's got in front of it. We got about 2 minutes until the bell rings. Still thinking about Oklo leaps. I'm not. I don't know if anybody else is. But again, I haven't done a lot of research and all that. We got, real quickly, I'm just going to look. Pre-market, SOLT is up 5.64%. So we're still seeing strength in that. UPEXI, which is a Solana treasury, is up 3.55. DFDV is up 1.6, a Solana treasury. And again, DN3, so Metaplanet is down 2.29% in Germany. So I'm guessing that we have a down to, I don't know, maybe slightly up at close for Metaplanet. CleanSpark is up 2.78. Iron is up 4.28. Mara is up 2.3. Mara actually did pretty good the end of last week. It was up 0.37%. When we look at CleanSpark and Mara, they appear to be finding bottoms. Bitfarms looks like it might have back tested and found a bottom too and be ready to pop. I'm sure Cypher has a lot of good PR behind it right now. It's probably looking good too. MicroStrategy was actually up 2.78% on Friday last week. And again, seasonality looks good for it heading into October. It's up 1.57% in pre-market, which is a really good sign too. Let's see. How are the BMNR is still up 3.21%. So that's looking good on the Ethereum treasury front. SBET, as usual, sucks. It's up 0.31%. And ETHZilla did really good the end of last week at 7.73% on Friday, and then now it's up 1.6, so it's getting a little bit of a pick-me-up too. But I'd say the market conditions look pretty good. If we just look at the heat map here, they look pretty good, maybe slightly deteriorating. I agree with you, Kamal. Marvel is underrated. Let's look at that one real quick. Let's take a look. Marvell Technologies. 58% revenue growth year over year. So again, revenue's looking good. Data center appears to be a lot of that. United States is looking good. Cash flow, it looks great, actually. They got debt, but their assets are starting to grow. They've got shares going down. Estimates are continued growth. Not as parabolic as MU, but continued. What was they got a forward PE of 28, so that's a little bit hotter than MU. I don't know why MU runs at such a lower PE. I really don't get it. The bell just rang. It looks like ding, ding, ding. So we just flopped over. Sorry for missing the bell. I should probably try and get better at that. Do you think Tesla will backtest or retrace slightly above the latest run? I don't know. I don't know that it has to. It's literally, it had the highest weekly close in history yesterday. Could it backtest to that? Well, yeah, sure. But that gets us right to here. Could it even backtest to here? Sure. Does it have to? I don't know. It's definitely, like, it's in the overbought territory, but just barely on the weekly time frame. And if you go back, I mean, look at what happened over here. It went up to 94 in 2020. Went to 94 before the pandemic pulled it down. And then again, it started to develop divergence, but it took a year and a half. So I don't know. We're just starting a breakout. I don't think it has to go down. Can we look at Lululemon? Let me look over here. Sorry, I'm trying to look at these from the financial aspect too, because I haven't looked at a lot of them in financials, which I care about more than just looking at a chart. I think Mara is going to do really good. I think Mara will be maybe in the 40s to 50s by the time we get to December, and I think CleanSpark could easily be in the 30s, the 33 range. I mean, yeah, 45 for probably Mara, 33 for CleanSpark. I think those are going to be pretty easy targets, especially if they play into the HPC thing. So Lululemon is operating at a forward PE of 14.43. What do its estimates look like? It looks like it's slowing down in growth. It probably has a lot of Chinese competitors. Lululemon has pretty good products, but they're very expensive, and I don't know if the return is worth it. And you always have, retail sucks because you always have the risk of it not being the cool thing. And then when it's not the cool thing, it just goes away. So I think you have to think about that. I think you have to think about it not being the cool thing. So I don't love retail. I never like retail, like clothing or any of that stuff for that reason. Could it pop, though, and do really well? Maybe. I mean, rich people are doing well. NBIUS. Is it overheated? Yeah, which one is that? Is that Nebius or whatever? NB. Is it IUS? Is it NBIS? Is it this one you're talking about? This is the one, right? This is the one that everybody's talking about. This is the one that went from $23 to $110, up almost 10x. Or I'm sorry, 5x, 6x since May. Revenue growth 625% year over year. Let's look at the estimates on this one. Pretty crazy estimates for revenue. Pretty crazy. Free cash flow is non-existent. It's just burning money. Burning money, but seeing massive growth is a decent formula. A forward PE of 70, though, is pretty high. But is this thing still continuing to go higher? I don't know. It all depends about the reality of the company and the fundamentals, and I don't know enough about it. If there's anybody who's really great on this, let me know. I know Shay talks about it. Is he the best on this? Who's the best subject matter on Nebius? We're done subbing, sub 100K loading. Justin James Cromer says, buy crypto. Did he really? Fuck. Now we're definitely going to 100K on Bitcoin, guys. I'm not even joking. That could happen. Tesla's still looking good. Love that. Let's see. What are we doing on Tesla? Sol is down this morning. Tesla is up 2.23% and continuing to climb. Gotta love it. So the highest number we've ever seen in Tesla, guys, is over here at 488. Let's see what the daily candle. We're already at the highest weekly. Let's see what the daily looks like. The daily, the best daily candle close is 479. But yeah, so we're almost getting to the golden retracement zone at 467. That's probably where we're likely to see tension. But we're also right at the ceiling of the highest levels we've ever seen in history. Maybe we get up to 488 and take a breather and back test before going higher. And then maybe we do another back test of some kind before going up. I don't know. We could do something where we get up here and have like a huge cup. And then maybe we back test down to these previous levels, the 400s, again over here to establish a handle before going higher. I don't know. But I think Tesla's going to be, the fundamentals are amazing. Lower interest rate environment is going to be good. And everything is firing off. Wendell Davis, this is over the next few quarters, according to him. Jordy timeline is MU. Who is him again? Sorry. Mick or MBC investing is great for Nebius. Okay, cool. Thank you. Stock Talk, the best by far. Okay. All right. I'll check those out. Anyway, I think I'm probably good for the day. I got to figure out why my connection sucks so, or why my video sucks so poorly, because it looks like it's not the internet connection. And see if I can fix that. So I'm probably going to focus some energy on that for the rest of the day so that Wednesday is better. But yeah, so far a decent day. BMNR is up 4%. Let's see what else is moving here. How's Solt doing? Solt's probably going to get dropping a little bit. It's up 5.87%, so it's doing all right so far. Metaplanet's down 3.31%. So again, it's just been sucking, just grinding at new lows. Where's SWC? How is that doing? SWC is down 1.69%, has not established a new low. I think that one's probably going to curl up before Metaplanet. CleanSpark's up 3.5%. Mara's up 2%. Iron is up 8.53. So again, still rocking it out. The next major target, guys, is not until 78 for Iron. So it could just keep climbing, and people have made tons of money. I still think it's probably a little late. I would rather be in CleanSpark and Mara right now, because again, CleanSpark is trying to get that narrative going for HPC, and so I think Mara will probably do the same. They kind of jump onto everything too on bandwagon. Let's see. Argentina's up today, just barely. Palantir's up 1% today. So a few things doing all right. Let's look over here at the heat map and switch to the daily and see how it's looking. Energy down again. Nvidia doing great. Tesla doing great. Berkshire Hathaway down. I don't know. Not too bad. Not too bad of a day. Netflix probably getting hit because of that tariff, 100% tariff. I thought we already did the 100% tariff. So it's weird that that's still a thing. Cypher? Yeah, we can look at Cypher. I never look at Cypher, but we can look at it. I probably have to update it. And again, if you guys are in the Discord, if there's new tickers you want to look at, we got to figure that out. You guys put them in there, and then you guys tell me about them in here. So this was just a retracement chart. That is very much done. Wow, that had a blow off, didn't it? Fuck, that's a blow off. Interesting. That's a pretty big blow off. I mean, that's like a end of the cycle type thing, unless the fundamentals are really, really good for this, which is possible. It's always possible, man. You always have to look at the fundamentals first. Let me see here. Cypher. I don't even know. That's probably not even right. Let's do this differently. I can't call that the bottom, though. I'll probably do it from here, a shorter time frame, because it's just a little weird right now. I don't know, man. I think we had our blast off in Cypher. I mean, this was a good investment to own down here, right? But 727, it's 4.65 billion. What do the fundamentals look like? That's one thing I want to look at more with IREN too in this. What do the fundamentals look like? Are they positive? Bitcoin's trying to get up over that hump, guys, that red. If you look in the bottom corner. Revenue growth, 18%. So the fundamentals look like shit. Massive share dilution, incredibly large amounts of debt. Revenue growth is flat. Cash flow is, again, very negative. Bitcoin production has fallen off a cliff. But we're hoping there's going to be a deal, right? Is that why Cypher is great? Oh, I got to take this off real quick so I can log in. Is that why we think Cypher is great? We're hoping a deal. Had a 7x subscription from last week, FYI. That's really what we're hoping for, right? Is some HPC deal that makes everything okay. I feel like that's what we're waiting for. A deal was announced already. How large was it? I know they had one, but how large was it? I don't know all the details. They got a pipe too? Ugh. God, that sounds fucked up. This just looks like shit. The estimates look good going forward. Revenue looks good. But are they going to actually start making profits? It seems like a lot of people front ran this one. I mean, insiders have been selling. They sold in Q1. They sold again here more recently. 26 million shares sold. Is that right? Yeah, I think so. Short interest is still high. Institutional ownership is growing. I don't know, though. It just looks like shit. Unless, again, their contracts are what are really going to drive them over here. And their financials look like shit. APP, Google bought 5% of their business. Yeah, I think I remember seeing that. But Google's doing that no matter what because they need as much processing as they can get, and they need power. And these guys probably have power, right? Cypher looks good, watch the latest presentation. Yeah, it's definitely forward looking because this thing went up 700% already. The technicals look like shit. This screams blow off top. This screams blow off top. I'm just telling you. From a technical standpoint, without knowing the fundamentals, unless we see this thing climb up a lot soon, having a 23% drop on a weekly candle and having this massive wick down with the highest volume this ticker has ever seen in its history is not conducive to greater upside. Ooh, Bitcoin's really trying to get it up, guys. That's exciting. But it was fairly modest, so how more hoping for another deal? Mike Alfred loves this ticker. Yeah, this probably had I think this is the Mike Alfred effect. And maybe he's right. If the substance of this company, I mean, Mike was very right about IREN, at least over the short term and what it's been able to do, right? And it's up 6% on the day. Still trying to get above that next hurdle. But I don't know. I look at it this way. This thing's already ran 727%. It's already ran 727% from April. Why wouldn't you own CleanSpark, who's got dinner dates with Mike Alfred? That is up how much since April? Let's just look here. And who's got a smaller cap. This has a smaller cap than Cypher, which is crazy to me. So this thing is up 100%, 108% since April, or something that went up over 700%. And these guys are also pushing for the HPC, and they're doing dinner dates with Mike Alfred. So I personally would think that there'd be potential for a higher return from something like CleanSpark if they play things out correctly with the HPC narrative. I would feel more optimistic about this one going up 144% to 280% in the next couple of months than I would Cypher, that has a larger cap, that's 1.2 billion more in cap, that's had a blow off top, and already run 747%. Does that make sense? Again, but if the fundamentals are just way better than Cypher, oh shit, guys, we're at 113,000. 113,264. We are seeing a real pop. I take back what I said earlier. If we can get over this or maintain this into close today, then we're looking at something special. We're looking at a very quick rebound in Bitcoin. Yeah, Cypher looks rough. From a technical standpoint, Cypher looks rough. From a financial standpoint, it looks like shit. I understand the news headlines are good. Let's look at sentiment here. News sentiment is bearish now, but analysts are bullish. Ooh, it's doing that fucking crazy thing again. Okay. Stronger liquidation level at 111K for BTC, though. Yeah, there is. There's some really heavy potential liquidations at lower levels. I agree. Like I said, blue diamond on my indicators for BTC and ETH on the day chart. Yeah, I think it's a coin flip for me either way. I think it's a coin flip. I think you should be prepared for 10% downside, but I think you should also understand that it can just keep going up from here because October and November. What's the max pain trade right now, guys? Let's think about it. The max pain would be, we've done better in September than people thought. They thought historically it was going to be a red month, and it hasn't been. I called that earlier. I called that even before Tom Lee did, 2 weeks beforehand, and that's played out. The max pain would be for this thing to go higher into the end of the month when everybody expects it to retrace a little bit. And then October kicks off. Maybe October is down a little bit to 100K on Bitcoin in the beginning of the month, and then it goes up a bunch. I don't know. I just know this. I know that I expect Bitcoin to get to at least 145, 148,000. I think it can do 200 pretty easily, and I think on the high end it could go up into the high 200s to maybe even the $300,000 range between now and the end of the year. And I do think we'll end up topping sometime around that, but I do think that we could see a down trace in the economy because based on technicals alone into the beginning of next year, into this year. And then I think that we're going up again because I believe AI is really transformative. I think what's coming, revenue per employee is going to be a real metric. And we looked at that, right? Like revenue per employee, guys, if we go back over here, I didn't get too far down the Tesla look here, but revenue per employee, let's look at real quickly. Waymo. Isn't that exciting? Look at all those LiDARs. We got the new Y, the cheaper one, which is awesome. That's going to help a ton. We got a Waymo driving on a golf course. So many things. But I just wanted to point out this. That's why I jumped over there. Revenue per employee. Imagine when Tesla has a higher revenue per employee than NVIDIA, because that's coming. And I think that it's going to look really good. CleanSpark, we looked at CleanSpark. It's right here. So CleanSpark looked like it back tested a downward trend line from way over here. It's kind of hard to tell on this line, but it's like from over here, here, touch point, and then now we just back tested it. And now we look like we're ready to go a lot higher. Remember, guys, CleanSpark was at the beginning of September, not even a month ago, it was at $8.88. It's currently sitting at $13.33, and we were up as high as $15.23. So it went up almost 100% in a month, and I think it's going to keep screaming. I think CleanSpark could be at could be at $33 by the end of October or the middle of November, all the way up to $50. So I think we're going to see a melt up still in markets. And again, these have been laggards and they've sucked. but I do think they're going to make up for lost time. I think NVIDIA is still undervalued. Yeah, I think it's pretty cheap comparatively when you look at the growth rate that they're going to have, and I don't think it's going away anytime soon because we had the people with Stargate and affiliated with Sam Altman say that there's 3 orders of magnitude of growth ahead of us for AI infrastructure. An order of magnitude is a 10x. The second order of magnitude would be a 10x off the value of the previous 10x. And a third is a 10x off the second value of the previous 10x. These are very big numbers, and they're not coming to an end anytime soon. Am I jumping back into it? No, I have no urge to get into MSTR. But I do think seasonality-wise, it looks really good. And could it go up 50% between now and the end of the year? Maybe. I think it could actually go up like 60 to 70%. I think it could get up to 540. But that's not enough for me to care. I would rather have, the 10x that I would get off my options for CleanSpark and Mara. I would rather have the 10x off of that than not even a doubling off of MSTR. Q4 is going to be epic. I agree. So guys, again, hang in there. The sky is not falling. We've talked about this a bunch of times. If anything, it's looking a lot better. If you look at it, guys, inflation hasn't come, just like we talked about with tariffs. The economy is sitting a lot better. We're still seeing China in decline with foreign direct investment and a lot of metrics. And at the same time, we're seeing everybody moving money into the United States. Our yields are going down because we're still seeing strong amounts of people buying our treasuries. And then we've got stable coins and all this other legislation that's going to end up helping with this process. Crypto market structures coming. So you have all this stuff, all these pro-growth policies. The deductions, Kathy Wood was talking about this in a video over the weekend too. It was the third installment with a guy, I can't remember his name, that's been interviewing her lately. Just simply talking about how underestimated it is and how people are just not talking about the massive tax deductions in corporate America for people moving business to the United States of America, both software tax deductions and physical infrastructure. You can fully deduct it and make it to where you don't pay taxes for years. So it's very important that people realize this, that this is a huge benefit to companies to move to the United States. They're going to be doing hiring, and unemployment is just not going to go up. It's not going to go up. We're going to see a lot of automation. We're going to see a lot of AI. But with all the companies that are flooding into the United States of America, you will still see demand for employment, and you should see wages going up. Because again, we're getting rid of the cheap labor. And then at the same time, we're encouraging people to invest in America and create jobs here and automate here and manufacture here to sell to the rest of the world. And so we should see labor wages grow at a decent tick, which is good for us from all the capital flowing into this country. And then we've got the tailwinds of AI. CleanSpark up 6.5% today, guys. We got all the tailwinds of AI, robotics, and autonomy behind us. I think people are not bullish enough right now on what's going to happen in the United States and how much money we're going to make between now and the end of the year. And I look forward to my $12 million goal. I think I've had a lot of people shitting on me this year, even though I've been growing, which is amazing. I've got 103,000 people here that are listening to me, and I love that, even especially considering how political I've been recently. But I think it's going to be really exciting when I get to my 12 million target, knowing that I was at 164 in 2020. If I get to 12 million this year, that's going to be a pretty big deal for me, and I'm going to be very excited about it. Anyway, I love you guys. I wish you the best. I would tell you to take it easy, and just be ready for this, guys. Be ready for this, because it's coming.
You pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You've got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You pump it up, don't you?